Hey guys, and we are here. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is Friday, August 8th. We are here to answer questions on strength building, muscle building, body transformation, diet new training, dry new training, nutrition, something like that. We'll get it all figured out. How you guys doing? Welcome to Massive Iron Live. I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, the longest running lifting podcast in the history of the universe. Well, that's my guess. I mean, I really haven't been to other places of the universe yet, but that is my speculation. How you guys doing? I hope you had a good week. We are cruising quickly towards fall, autumn, pumpkin spice lattes, Halloween movies, all that kind of good stuff. So enjoy the rest of your summer. Before we dive into things, if you post up a question and it doesn't go through, try shortening it. Sometimes the longer questions don't go through. And sometimes YouTube will filter your naughty words or your odd language for whatever reason. So try rewording things. If by some chance you are here late or your comment doesn't go through, head over to Instagram, Ben the Barman, slide into my DM with questions. I answer every question. I'm always available for assistance, and I am here to help. So don't feel like if you have any questions, that have been asked a million times, you can't answer them. That is what we are here for. How you guys doing? How's your training going? What split are you using? I'm working on a couple things right now, and I hope to be done with them very, very quickly. Massive Savage is one of my goals to finish up. And last night, out of the blue, I started looking at the old Mike Mentzer program. And I asked myself, if I had to put together a program that was high intensity and a little bit on the lower volume side, how would I do it? So I actually started working on that about 9 o'clock last night. It's not going to be Mentzer-esque, in the classic Mentzer sense, but I did put together some interesting stuff, more minimalist. So I'm going to be rolling that out for free very, very soon. Before I dive into things, please, guys, I coach for a living. I would love to work with you. Please head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. If you are interested in help or you are frustrated, I've been coaching for a very long time. I coach very, very differently. I check in with my clients every single day, 5 days a week. I would love to help you. Once we talk, we set up a plan of attack, nutrition-wise, training-wise. And because we talk every day, we can make adjustments on the fly. And the good news, it's only $89.40 after the first month. Check out the coaching tab. I also do custom workouts, which is a big, big draw. It's something I do quite a lot of. You can head over here and search custom, and it is only $39.99. I will send you a set of questions, and I will completely structure from the ground up a custom workout for you and give you a little bit of nudge in the right direction when it comes to bulking and cutting. That's it. Let's dive into things. Let's see what we got going on here. And pop to the top. Big Joe B. How's it going, Joe B? Thanks for tuning in from Canada. Big Ernie. And Joe's a client of mine. Ernie's a client of mine. Thanks for tuning in, Ernie. And Rico, longtime follower. I appreciate your support, Rico. Good to have you here. What is new? What is new? What isn't new, man? My life is just moving by at lightning pace, doing so much work every day. I absolutely love what I'm doing. And man, I wish I had 3 of me just to get done all the work I want to get done. I've been considering seeing if anybody wants to come on board as a personal assistant. Basically, there are some areas that I want to flesh out in my content world. I'd like to get some of my workouts up on True Coach or Train Heroic just as an alternative. Some other things I'm thinking about. So if any of you guys are interested in doing something like that, I have some ideas for some commission-based work. That wouldn't involve a lot of time. So basically, getting my workouts up on certain sites and that sort of thing. But I'm looking at that. I also want to get a central. I've been wanting to do this for a very, very long time. Get a central website up with all my content available for free, all the articles, all the videos, all the quotes, all the important lifts, everything. I would like to really get that up. It's very, very important to me, just so we can kind of organize all of the teachings I have. So that's really it. And I want to show you guys something, if you don't mind. We've been working on a workout tracker for quite a long time, and it is looking good. We're done with the tracker aspect. We started to add social features. So this is kind of the start of the app. Enter, and I'm only going to give you a quick sneak peek here. This is when you log in. That's my ugly picture at the top. But we added social features. So you can go in, you have your PR room. You can't really see it too well. Social features. Oh, you can check out who you're following, what they're doing, pictures, quotes. So it's going to be like Instagram. In a workout tracker, you can follow people. You can choose whether you want to have your information public or not. It can share PRs. It can share photos. It can share all kinds of things, things like this, images, whatever. So this is going to be coming out very, very soon, and I'm super excited about it. But that's one of the big things I'm working on. So that's it. Yeah, let's move on. Steve and Team Massive, there's a lot of talk of genetics on fitness content, people blaming their lack of progress outcome on it. I'm of the belief that more than anything, effort is important. You're absolutely correct. I mean, when it comes to a genetic profile, it couldn't be more complex. What aspects of genetics are there? There are so many aspects of genetics. You have so many physical aspects, limb lengths and leverages, and there's such a biological diversity in the human species. It's just endless, the amount of possibilities. And not only that, but I think the biggest thing we dismiss or don't talk about when it comes to genetic propensity is the mental aspect of things. And I'm not really certain this is genetic as much as it could be environmental or developmental or whatever. But the mental side of things is as important, if not more important, than the genetic side of things. And the passion for what you are doing is exceptionally important. I see people that will, float by my social media screen or float by, various outlets, and they don't love the lifting, the physical pursuit as much as they need to get quality results. And that might sound very, very critical, but that is the reality. If first and foremost, you don't love the lifting or whatever the physical pursuit is, if first and foremost, you don't love the running or you don't love the swimming or you don't love whatever you're doing, you're not, you can fake it for a while. And some people might be able to, because of their planning, be able to just get in and routinely knock out things, even though they're not super passionate about it. But those people are extremely rare. Passion is the cornerstone. Planning is essential. Planning and preparation and passion. There are a lot of people I see that have passion, but they also don't have planning. They don't have structure. They might not even know what their warm-up structure is or know what they did the last workout. So they might be very passionate about going to the gym today, but they don't have the planning and the preparation and the structure to properly facilitate amazing progress, the kind of progress they want to make. Does that make sense? So genetics, it's an interesting topic. And like I said, there's a lot of biological diversity, but the real key is going to be passion, is going to be planning and structure, and taking a step forward safely every day. We do not know where we are going to go. And I am the perfect example of this. When I was 346 pounds, I had no idea what I would look like after my transformation was done. I didn't set out to make a transformation. I just got in the hole. I dug another pile of dirt out and shoved it over my shoulders and moved forward every day. And before you know it, something amazing happened. We each have the potential to greatly exceed whatever expectations we have, as long as they're not unreasonable. As long as you don't think you're going to be like Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman or, Phil Heath or any of these guys, you don't have unreasonable expectations. As long, the low expectations you might have, you have the ability to far exceed any of these expectations. You can achieve great things. You don't know what they're going to be. You have no idea until you start. But the thing you have to be in love with is getting up and taking the next step, getting up and taking the next step. You can dream and you can think and you can wish and you can fall asleep thinking about the squat or the deadlift or form. These are all things I used to do. I used to go to bed just dreaming of the squat, my workout the next day. I used to go to bed sometimes just emotional about hitting a PR the next day. That's not an understatement. You can have all these things. You can have all the dreams and the goals and the thoughts and the well wishes, but you are probably going to go someplace that you don't expect. And there's going to be a lot of good in this process. You might think your deadlift sucks, and then one day you wake up and you're deadlifting 550 pounds. 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever. You might think, I'm small boned, I'm naturally weak, I don't have the ability to build a lot of muscle mass. And then you wake up 5 years later, and you might not be as big as Jeffrey Verity Schofield or doing dips like Alpha Destiny, Alex, or looking like Bald Omni Man, but you might look absolutely amazing. We all have the ability to build more muscle mass than we think. Can you get to your natural potential or close to your natural potential? I don't know. But I do know that you have the ability to build a lot more muscle mass than you think. Wherever you're at now, you have the ability to gain 5, 10, 15 pounds of muscle mass, more muscle mass than this will make a dramatic impact on your physique. All right. Let's see where we're at. We have the rainbow unicorn. I got these at Ollie's. They were $1 a piece. Not my favorite, not the worst thing. Not the biggest fan of Bang, but this is for $1 a piece. You can't go wrong. I did a mini cut, and I'm around 12% body fat. Planning to do some bulk. Know your idea of going to maintenance around 5 days, but how do I know my new maintenance? It's a guess. So if you know the amount of calories you are on in a cut, let me know. And I can give you a guesstimate of where to start for your maintenance level. Also, if I have your height and weight, that will be beneficial as well. I can give you a ballpark, and all we really need is a ballpark to start out with, and we can adjust. So I can give you a reasonable ballpark. Now, I want to remind you guys that during this live, and nobody ever does this, but I just want to remind you guys, if any of you ever want to have me critique a form video on live, just paste the YouTube in here, okay? Or, whatever. And we will take a look at it. So don't hesitate to do that. Big Mike M. Should I switch from a bro split to a full body or push-pull legs so that I hit the muscle groups every 48 hours for maximum gains and cancel? He's being sarcastic. And cancel my vacation because I'll lose all of my gains if I miss more than 10 days. The video I made yesterday about losing 3 months of gains after having 10 days away from training. There are, I don't even know where to begin on this. Like, when you wake up in fitness and muscle building, you think you've reached the end of the internet, right? You think you've reached the end of madness. Like, we can't possibly go any deeper. We're at the Earth's core of madness, right? And then you wake up and somebody says, if you take 10 days off, you're setting back your gains for the last 3 months. You're negating your gains for the last 3 months. I don't even know how we can become this ignorant. I don't know how adult lifters can get on the internet and say things like this that are so absolutely ridiculous. But what it really shows you is the level of desperation some people are willing to sink to push their programming beliefs. And that's really the mechanism here. And I'm not going to name names. You guys can watch the video. You can see the names. I'm not going after people. I'm going after concepts. But it is such a scandalous degree of depravity, right? We will sink ourselves to such a low level, making ourselves look like an absolute clown to push a certain type of training. Now, if you are new here, I push a certain type of training. I push freedom, not fear. I don't push one method. I often equate my method to Bruce Lee's system in that we look at everything and we analyze everything in the history of lifting. And I put together what are called the massive iron pillars of success. You need these pillars. And it's not specific exercises. It's not specific rep ranges. It's not specific splits. We focus on freedom, training freedom. So if somebody comes to me and says, what do you think of Mike Mentzer? What do you think of high volume? What do you think of low volume? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? I don't care what they do. The key is always going to be putting in exercises with a reasonable progression opportunity, using rep ranges that work for you on that exercise, and evolving your programming. So wherever you start, if you woke up today and you decided you were going to do a Mike Mentzer program, or you were going to do a high volume program, or you were going to mimic Phil Heath's program, or whatever you want to do, wherever you start, if you adjust from that starting point, maybe adjust your exercises, your rep ranges, your splits, whatever, to personal preference or what feels better for you, this is a cornerstone, and it's going to take you to a good place as long as you have progressive overload in the mix, as long as you have sustainability in the mix, as long as you have good nutrition in the mix. The massive iron way is the way of freedom. I don't know what other way to put it. So yes, I do get up every day and I push a bigger picture. My picture is very inclusive of just about everything, because that is the beautiful thing about training. It isn't a narrow path. And that's not an opinion. You can simply look at every possible training program of everyone that's been successful, and they're all vastly different. That should be freeing for you, right? Now, I'm just going to end with this. That has been my career. I started with a forum called Muscle and Brawn. I no longer own the site, so don't go over there. And I had that forum. I was on the Muscle and Strength forum. I was on the I'll Pump You Up forum. Writing articles for Critical Bench, for my own site, Muscle and Brawn, for Muscle and Strength, for Tiger Fitness. During all this, working with YouTubers, working with bodybuilders, doing endless transformation stories, working with people in the real world, you, working with all these articles, studying programs. Everything is completely different. There's such a broad spectrum that can seem terrifying unless you understand that there's freedom in this diversity. You want to do a 5x5? Great, get after it. You want to do only one set of 5 on deadlift and leave room in your program for everything else? Great, get after it. It's not the small details that matter, the small little differentiators. It is the big picture of the program. And there is a huge degree of diversity, and that is the good news. And that is the freedom that I speak about. All right, let's move on. I just noticed something on my Bang energy drink that I've not noticed before. It says you must be 18 or over to drink this. Not recommended for persons under 18. Okay. All right. Do you think a 4-month bulk, 4-month, 10-pound bulk is long enough? It's not that it's long enough to see some change. Yes. You are on the right path, and change is going to occur over the long run. So let's say it took you 10 of these or 40 total months in the bulking lane to build 20 pounds of muscle. Okay. You're always going to see change in every bulk. It might not be always visible, but that's why we measure our arm size flexed, our leg size flexed. That's why we track everything, because this is a long-term process. Yes, it's absolutely going to provide change. Is it going to provide dramatic, quick change? No. But that is the nature of muscle building. It is a long-term process, and we cannot change that, but we can do the right thing. Is 4 months enough? 4 months is never enough, because this is a long process. But if you do the right thing, you will always reap rewards. Greetings, happy Friday. I hope you had massive gains. Thank you, Richard, for tuning in. Good morning, Team Massive. Jeff, good to have you, client of mine. Let the story of the week be a romantic anecdote for a change. Wow. I don't know about. I can tell you a romantic. My wife's birthday is coming up on Sunday, and I can tell you how I met my wife, if you'd like. Let me just check something, because I'm researching something here for a future question. All right. So I'm just preparing for a future question. All right. So both me and my wife lost 100 pounds. We did so about at the same time. So when I was losing my 100 pounds, she was losing her 100 pounds. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. And when she messaged me she messaged me one time out of Instagram, and it was harmless. And she is an incredibly beautiful woman. And like I thought I was being catfished. Like, this woman's so beautiful. There's no way she's talking to me, right? So I wanted to immediately, I've never done this before. I wanted to immediately make sure she was who she was, and then I wasn't being catfished, right? So I asked her if she wanted the video talk that night. She's from Australia. Why not? I mean, I was single. I had nothing else to do. I mean, it was harmless. She said yes, and we just started talking. We both lost about 100 pounds at the same time. And we started talking. And, at that time, I was pretty fed up with trying to meet someone. So I basically just put it all on the line. I mean, she's from Australia and I'm from America. And I figured there's no point in talking to this woman if she isn't serious about meeting up, whether I go to Australia or she comes here. And never in a million years did I think she would say yes. So I said, why don't you come over? We'll hang out. We'll do some fun. I don't even know if I was serious or partly serious. I can't even remember. But she said yes. And she came over and we hung out and we had a wonderful time. And the rest is absolute history. Now, let's see. I'm trying to find some information on Eric Helms and bulking because somebody brought that up. And I'm going to jump to that since we had just talked about bulking. And let me you guys can correct any of this information, but I want to jump ahead to the end of the road here. Where is it? So Intermediate Lifter says, thoughts on Dr. Eric Helms saying you don't need a calorie surplus. I always want to make sure I understand the context here. So I don't know if ChatGPT is completely accurate. I said, here is a scoop on Dr. Eric Helms' stance about whether you need a calorie surplus to build muscle. Dr. Helms actually says, and again, you can correct this is just AI, a surplus isn't strictly necessary, but context matters. For beginners, especially those with an average body fat, a moderate surplus, that's what I talk about, can yield excellent lean muscle gains. That's what I talk about. Intermediate or advanced trainees can often make comparable while eating on maintenance. Could, but I've never seen that, right? I don't see that in coaching. I don't see that in real world application. So, also, it's just going to make things more difficult for you. I know a lot of people that would disagree with Dr. Eric Helms. I don't think eating at maintenance is the best way to go. I don't think it facilitates the best gains. For advanced trainees, now look, advanced trainees are literally gaining pounds and ounces. So there might be an argument to not bulk, but I still think if you want maximum mass, there's still no reason not to lean bulk or slow bulk. So I would put that out as a counter argument. If you have two paths and you are playing the long game, and he's talking about intermediate or advanced, if you have two paths and one provides a potential benefit and one provides a potential hindrance, which are you going to take? If you are from the camp that you are trying to staple yourself to a specific weight on the scale because you're afraid of getting fat, but you don't have a lot of muscle right now, you have other issues you need to deal with because you're focusing on a number on the scale rather than maximizing muscle building. Research shows larger surpluses lead to more fat, not more muscle. That's a study by, we're not doing 15% surpluses. We're not doing 15% surpluses. That's fat bulking. That's a little bit too aggressive. The art of lean bulking. Helms advocates for lean bulking, a slower, more gradual approach to design a maximized muscle gain while limiting fat accumulation. And he's against the YOLO bulk. Well, there we are. We're on the same page. He advocates for lean bulking. That's what I advocate. That's what everybody pretty much advocates. The problem we get into is people will misinterpret and go against fat bulking. And what many of these guys are against are YOLO bulking or fat bulking. And I'm not sure what this says. We'll pull this up. It might be more like a pound a month. A pound a month is still pretty aggressive. You'd be pretty lucky to have a pound a month. YOLO bulking can be productive and fun when you're a beginner. That's aggressive bulking, but it becomes counterproductive. Instead, you can do what's called a lean bulk. You gain muscle a little bit slower, but with less fat gain. So what he is saying is what I am saying. That's his quote, not my interpretation of his quote. Instead, you can do a lean bulk. And he gives some general surplus. We might differ slightly. I'm not going to give you arbitrary surplus numbers because that's not the way the real world works. No offense to Dr. Helms. I'm sure he would agree. These might be starting points. But when you are having a starting point, you always have to adjust based on what is happening with the scale. The guideline is to try to gain 1% of your body weight per month. This is exactly what I teach, just said a different way. If you weigh 200 pounds, this is going to be about 2 pounds or about a kilo a month. I advocate roughly about a kilo a month. Lower than that can be a little bit more challenging to maintain or sustain. But if you are a more advanced lifter, that would make more sense. So basically, we're on the same sheet of music. None of this information I see says that he is stating to remain at maintenance or not have a calorie surplus. So I'm just going off what I see. I'm not trying to be argumentative. We're saying the same thing, just in a different way. A lot of times what you see on social media is people that are against YOLO fat bulking and, we're over it. It's 2025. This isn't the Ripito era. Nobody's doing GOMAD. We're not doing that. So the things a lot of people think we're against, we're not actually against lean bulking. We're against YOLO bulking. It's going to, if you do aggressive fat bulking, it's just going to keep you in a cutting diet the majority of the year. And we all agree on that. Thank you, Richard. Let's see. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. Shelly, good to see you, Shelly. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Mo's commentary. I'm following your bench program. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And today I was doing 90 and I got 1, 2, and 3. The fourth rep, I only got 3. That's okay. That's okay. That's part of the process. You're not going to get all your reps. And this is where we dig in and push. Now, you could drop 5 pounds if you wanted to. But, you can either push or you can drop 5 pounds and dig in. But, don't be frustrated that you're not hitting the reps. The goal is to improve, not to hit specific reps. Does that make sense? All right, we are about 35 minutes in. Let me have a boost of energy. I almost licked the wrong side of the thing. Sipped the wrong side of the thing. What am I even talking about? Martin, good to see you, Martin. Really glad to have you here. It's the only day of the week that matters. Massive Friday, excuse me. I inhaled something. I might die live here on Massive Iron. To save time in training, what strategies do you recommend? Number one, a flexible schedule. Doing something where you can alternate between upper posterior or torso limbs. That is the best starting point. So you can train 2, 3, 4 days a week, have it flexible each week without it being a big deal. Also, if you need to cut down on time, drop your posterior lifts down to maybe 2 sets, or maybe even a ramp up to 1 top set on squats and deadlifts. That'll save some time. And then cutting your sets down to 2, and then maybe adding on some savage work, which is 1 or 2 rest pause quick sets after the last set, or just doing 3 or 4 bulldozer sets for an isolation exercise instead of 3 sets. So there's a lot of things you can do in that sense. If you guys have any questions about bulldozer training, savage training, any of the protocols that I mention in this video and you're not familiar with it, you can always hit me up on Instagram. Come join my community, my Discord community. I would love to have you. There's no reason for you not to be there. Or just email me, benthebarman@gmail.com. Last week, best workout I've had. Wonderful. This week seems dreadful to lift. Welcome to lifting, right? Though I've pushed through today, even though no enthusiasm. What you say to get back being stoked. You look in the mirror at that pretty face that's staring back at you. Actually, you look in the mirror at that ugly face that's staring back at you. And you say, you aren't pretty. The only thing you have going for you is that you love lift. You love lift. That's the only thing that's going to save you. You can take that ugly ass head that your mama gave you because you did not deserve more, and you can frame it with a wonderful body filled with muscle and strength. You need to look in the mirror at that ugly head, that big, fat, ugly watermelon head, and you need to say, self, I do not care that I had a bad workout because I'm smarter than that, and I understand the long process. The long process is going to be doing the right thing day in and day out, week in and week out, laying that brick, building that wall, taking that step, walking the marathon. I do not care that I had a setback because I am smart enough to know that setbacks are part of the journey. To get to the land of success, you're going to have 1,000 days of failure. A big part of this is when you have those days of failure, understanding that it is building the mental strength and the mental wherewithal and the internal fortitude and the intestinal fortitude to equip you to continue to push forward when you feel like quitting, when you feel frustrated. These days are the mental days. These days are progressive overload with mental strength. They can absolutely make you question everything you're doing. But what you need to do is go back in front of that mirror and self-analyze. Do I really want this? Am I pushing as hard as I could? Is my nutrition nailed down? And I will just say as a final end cap, make sure your nutrition is nailed down. It's not good enough just to eat your protein and guess where your calories are. We have a very specific goal, a very specific outcome, and we need to be on a very specific path to achieve that outcome. This isn't speculation. Everybody other than the genetic outliers and the miscellaneous freaks that has ever achieved anything great in the world of muscle and strength building is focused in the same way. Lickenberger, Fitzenberger. Sorry, couldn't resist. Happy Friday, Steve. Curious on the preferred rep range for either dumbbell rows or croc. Generally 12 or above. If we're going to get into some high wire dumbbell row shenanigans, generally 12 or above. You can go to 20 if you want. I've had days where I went to 30 or 40 where I was in LA Fitness and didn't have a really heavy dumbbell. But the key is always to listen to your biceps. If you pick up any bicep stress, just shut the set down, because doing high rep rows is and can be a fun thing, but we want to make sure that we're not picking up any unwanted bicep stress. After close grip lat pull downs, been doing 2 sets of 6 to 10. Should I go lighter weight? No, there's no need to necessarily go lighter weight unless you really, really like that style of row. Now, I will say, if you're going to be working in the 6, 8, or 10 rep range on dumbbell rows, there's a good chance you are going to run out of weight very, very quickly. And that's kind of when you naturally progress to a higher rep range. I'm on the push-pull, no legs 6-day a week. I'm just letting everybody else analyze that for a moment. Mo, why would you keep half of your body weak and small? Mo, you need to do a little bit, Mo. Mo, we're having an intervention. Mo, I'm gonna say something here. I'm gonna say something here. It's a guess, and you can correct me. But I'm gonna guess, Mo, that you're not bulking either. Mo, train your legs. There isn't a single person on planet Earth that wants to see chicken legs. You don't have to have Tom Platt's legs, but you do need to train your legs, Mo. Richard, what do you think about supersets and how do you recommend its application? Could you please give us guidelines? Supersets work best with complementary exercises like dips and push-ups, barrel press or dumbbell flies and barrel press. They work best on things that don't require multiple pieces of equipment and you being an asshole in the gym. So you can do dips and drop down and do push-ups. You might be able to do pull-ups and move right over at the same cable station and do lat pull downs. You might be able to do like lat pull downs and then superset with lat prayers. So if they are muscle groups that are in the same if it's a superset that is working the same area, I'm all for it, as long as you're not hogging a lot of equipment in the gym. Supersetting, the one thing I think is ridiculous and the worst possible thing you can do is supersetting opposing muscle groups like back and chest. Hard training, some people say, I want to save time. This is not the way to do it. There are 1,000 other things you can do in the gym that are smarter than that. If you're doing like a dips and push-ups superset, you don't have to do it on every set. You could just do it on the final set, kind of as a finisher. Or you could do it on every set, but always make sure you have progression markers in place. I'm going to move to another city. Think that won't be able to eat good amount of protein for 2 weeks. No problem. If you want to do a mini cut during that time, you certainly can. Overall, when we look at body recomposition in the long run, it doesn't really matter how you cut as long as you maintain your body fat percentage. So if somebody wanted to do 2 or 3 week cuts occasionally, that's fine. There's no harm in it. It's not going to provide a dramatic amount of fat loss, but it's a good approach. There's nothing wrong with it. When you are structuring a cut around a time in life that is of change, right? I'm going to be moving house, doing a lot of crazy stuff. I'm going to be moving to a different city. I'm doing this, that, or the other thing. I can't train regularly. I can't eat normally. That's probably a good time to just stay in a maintenance or calorie deficit. So absolutely. Knowledge seeker. I would love to be a personal trainer like yourself. I'm working on my body because I understand the body is my business card. Any other tips? The biggest thing is, while you might have to train general population at some point in time just to bring in money, understand your passion. Understand your area of focus. What do I like? What do I like teaching? Who is my perfect client? And start to structure your business around your passion. You guys know who I am. I'm not a mobility expert. The way I approach training is different from other influencers. And I'm not positioning myself as an influencer. I didn't get into this to be some stupid influencer. But I know who I am and I know what I like to do and I know how I like to program. Don't bend that. Be you. There's room in this market for you. Again, you might have to take some general population work just to pay the bills. And that's not an insult when I say general population. People need help, but it might not be specifically your refined area of focus. Does that make sense? Build friendships on social media. A huge part of what I do is community. Just interacting, lifting with people, building relationships. I'm not a seller. I don't go out and sell. I devoted most of my life to helping people for free, and that has paid off. So, a big part of it is, be authentic, be yourself, be real. Don't be phony. Don't regurgitate everybody else's content. Understand you don't need a big market or a big following to be successful. That's not the definition of success. I can post something on social media, on Instagram, and like how to properly warm up. I can get 50 likes, right? But I have a full-time business. It's not about likes. It's about reaching the people you want to reach. And if anybody doesn't like that information, they're probably not my people. Does that make sense? Nolan, the massive iron lifting story of the week. Where do we want to go this week? Any suggestions? I need to think about this one. What is the lifting story of the week? I had one come to mind. I don't know if I want to share it. Probably not. It's about a fake natty. So, I really don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what I could possibly talk about that I haven't regurgitated 1,000 times over. I think we were looking at Jay Cutler this morning, and I don't. This really isn't a lifting story, but we were looking at pictures of Jay Cutler. He was before he was 19, and he looked absolutely insane. And I met Jay. I've worked with Jay, not extensively. But the one thing I found curious about Jay, a really good guy, and I have nothing but good things to say, is that it said he got into bodybuilding when he was 18. And his picture before he was 19, let me show you guys for reference. Let me show you guys for reference so you can see what I'm talking about, because reference is really everything. And I found this picture on social media. This has absolutely nothing to do with me, but it is a lifting story, I guess. Present, share screen. So this image popped up, and that's Jay prior to his 19th birthday in around 1992. Now, it said he started lifting at 18, and this is his physique about a year later, less than a year later. Now, Jay never talks about supplements, and I don't want to make this about supplements, but there are a couple things that stand out. Number one, he had amazing genetics, a propensity to grow. And number two, the thing I find curious, and this is not a condemnation or being critical at all, it's just something I didn't realize. He started at 18. Here he is right before 19. I had not realized he had been on the supplement train pretty much right out of the gate from his lifting. And if you know what I mean by the supplement train, you know what I mean by the supplement train. Again, not a criticism, but this is a very unique case. A very unique case. I don't know that you see a convergence of starting lifting along with supplements, along with Olympian genetics like this. So it is an interesting case, because here we are a year into training, and it is what it is. So that's probably a lame lifting story, but I don't know. I didn't want to drag it out. Was watching last week's live just now and forgot that you'd be on. Well, I appreciate you joining in. What do you think of using a safety squat bar? 100% for standing calf raises. I think it's a good choice for lunges and standing calf raises. I know you recommend holding the bar for like rocking calf raises and standing calf raises. That's fine. The only reason I recommend holding the bar is because most people don't have a safety squat bar. And if you're going to try and do standing calf raises with the bar on your back, you're probably going to have a lot of shoulder stress, because they're going to, just take a lot of time. Big Martin. Can't train at the moment, as you know, but looking forward to getting out of it, smashing a 10K. Good luck, Martin. I hope it goes well. We all want you back and training. Thank you for your advice on bulking yesterday. I think I'll pace it slowly. It sounds good. The only thing I'm going to say is 5 pounds at the end of the month isn't a bulk. So just make sure because we have August, September, October, November, December, 6 months. 10 pounds would be the minimum. I'm just saying that because I'm saying it. Because I want you to maximize muscle. Big Lee. Elbows and knees are sending me some warnings, so I'm doing a week of calisthenics. I would take a deload week and then see how it feels when you come back. Also, for us non-Americans, can you explain the Trump fitness and school thing? I don't know what he's going to do. I will tell you, back when I was in school, we had fitness testing. I think we had to run the 600 meter, and I forgot the other things. So this isn't political speak, so don't anybody start to post about Donald Trump or politics, because I don't do that. But we had physical fitness testing in the 80s. And hold on a second. Every year we were tested in like the 600-meter dash or something, 600 yard. I can't remember specifically. We had physical fitness testing. So let me pull it up. And let's see. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, kids had yearly, if I could type, physical fitness testing in the U.S. Let's see if it gives us any detail. Presidential Physical Fitness Program. It was started under the late 50s under Dwight Eisenhower. And let me get rid of that. Pull-ups for boys or flexed arm hang for girls. Sit-ups, usually a minute. Shuttle run, I remember that. Standing long jump, 50-yard dash, sit and reach. I remember we were tested in a longer run as well. And I'm not... Was there a 600-yard or meter test? I swear there was. I remember running this thing every year and dreading it. 600-yard run walk. Absolutely. So we would have to do that back in the day. And do I think it's a good thing? Yeah, I think it's a good thing. We need to encourage activity. Was it torture when we were kids? Absolutely. No one wanted to go out and do the 600-yard run or whatever it was. But I think it keeps our eyes on fitness, and I think we need to keep that. Education is education. We need to have physical education as well because it's a vital aspect of a quality life. And I am all for it. How we structure it, is, up to the folks smarter than me. But, if they ask me, I'd have opinions on it. I was videoing my dumbbell press and I noticed I was lifting my head on the lowering phrase. Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry about where the head goes on the dumbbell bench. That's what I do. Like I'll bring it down and then when I press up, my head tends to come up. Do I do it on purpose? No. Will it impact anything? No. Is there anything to worry about? No. Just keep good control during your dumbbell bench. You're absolutely fine. Kevin. Tuning in from Scotty, Wisconsin. Good to have you, Kevin. In a weight loss phase right now, down 20 pounds. Nice work. Once I hit my goal, I'm going to hit you up for training. Hey, that would be wonderful. Come sign up. We'll get it rolling. We'll get everything ready. We can actually start the coaching, when you're ready to go. But my busy time starts around Black Friday, and I do have a couple coaching spots open right now. So think about it. Just hit me up. Shelly. I'm cutting, but I have to go to a potluck picnic Saturday. It throws off my activity. What I typically do is I try to eat less during the day. You don't have to do strict fasting, but maybe just a couple, 200-300 calories to hold you off. So you don't go in like like totally flat and deprived. And then, just don't do anything you regret. A day at maintenance isn't going to kill you, but you probably want to focus on protein. If you do salads, just do a little bit. Don't get aggressive. Don't feel like you have to eat everything. And if you want to taste a dessert, that's fine. It doesn't mean you have to eat everything. Stay away from the really high fat foods and the high calorie salads as much as possible. JZ. I'm missing gains. If I only do 4 to 8 reps for legs. I'm in a lazy era. I get less soreness. I don't really care about specific rep ranges. Rep ranges have to be tailored to the exercise, and the whole 4 to 8 whatever is so played out, and it's just another fad. That's all it is. I really can't say anything other than that. Rep ranges don't matter. They need to be tailored to the individual. exercise. So there's really nothing more to say than that. Anything outside of that is just a phase or personal preference. I've been doing only laterals for delts. Yes, 100%, 1000%. Everybody's front delts are overdeveloped. Your side delts are going to receive an incredible amount of benefit. You have to do overhead pressing. There's not enough progression in lateral variations, 100%. You're missing a major movement pattern. Goldfish, thanks for tuning in. Glad to have you here. Pretty fly for a guy. Just do whatever works for you. Super scientific. That sounds like sarcasm. That's not exactly what I said. So if that is sarcasm, it is extremely misguided. I'm not getting on here. Maybe it's not what you said, so we'll assume, but let's assume it is what you said. Just do whatever works for you. You're super scientific. That's not exactly what I said. I've spent my life studying lifting, and what I'm telling you is, and this is reasonably intelligent, I would hope, that if you look at the history of lifting, you will find commonalities. If you look at the commonalities between training systems rather than the differences, okay? So if you took 10 different Olympians, you would find they all train differently, okay? And this could scare you. This could intimidate you. So what would be the scientific way of analyzing this? I'm asking you. What would be the scientific way? To look at all the differences. What would be a good starting point? To lock your brain into all the differences, or to lock your brain first and foremost into all the commonalities. So if I am being scientific and I am looking at 100 of the best lifters of all time, naturals, whatever, we're not going to get into that debate. And we realize they all have different programs. Where the confusion in muscle building comes in is that we look at a specific variable of one of these 100, and we might think or process that this is the magic way. One variable. And this is where people get confused. This guy is doing this. I'm confused. Where this guy is doing this. What I have done with the massive iron system and my personal study, and I call it the massive iron system because it's my personal study, is the big question is to look at all the commonalities. What are the commonalities in these 100,000, 10,000 lifters? Because if you try to look at the specific variables, you're going to pick up a degree of fear, because you're going to think one variable, and everybody has different variables. Some people are doing supersets, some rest pause, some a little bit volume, some a little bit less volume. And you're going to try to find magic in all of this. And you're going to hop around in programs because you're looking for magic in the wrong place. Is that scientific? I'm asking you guys, is that scientific? Or is it scientific to look at all the commonalities, and instead of being locked in a world of fear and variables, understanding the game, the core of the game, and allowing yourself freedom to change, evolve based on the known parameters? A world of freedom rather than a world of fear. When I look at 100 different lifters that are successful, I have freedom. They have fear. I have confidence. They pick up program hopping and over-analysis of minor variables where I know they all work. So what are the commonalities? Okay. Let me see if I can pull up the pillars of success. So let me see if I can find them. Let's talk about them briefly. And again, I don't know if he's being sarcastic about me being unscientific or whatever, but you guys can determine if looking at the minutia or the fringe is causing more detriment than good, or if looking at the commonalities between programming. And I have it loading right now. This is something I offer for free. And we'll remove this comment. 10 pillars of success. You can go over to my website and search Massive Iron Omnibus. My initial book, Massive Iron, put out over 10 years ago, had 6 pillars of success. Since then, I've expanded into 10 pillars of success. This book is something I give out for free. If you want it, you can DM me. In my original book, I talked about 5 pillars of success: consistency, progression, patience, food, and listening, or evolving your body. And I got into these. In the new book, I have expanded these as I expanded my analysis to include consistency. Obviously, that's the foundation. This is where a lot of people fail. Progression. You can't stagnate. You can't just do side laterals for 20 pounds for 10 years and expect to get big. You have to have some progressive overload. You have to push progressively harder over the course of 5 to 10 years. Patience. A lot of people lose patience, and this could go hand in hand with consistency. But patience is a different mental game. Consistency is getting up and doing the same thing over and over again. Patience is understanding the nature of the game, and that adding 1 rep to your bench press every 4 weeks is going to turn you into a monster. So we have to be patient with the progression, and we have to be safe, and that will address that later. Nutrition. You have to have focused, lean bulking, not YOLO bulking. It's not good enough just to have a reasonable calorie intake or reasonable healthy foods. You need focused bodybuilding nutrition. 5, evolution. Every serious lifter, successful lifter, has evolved their training based on personal preferences. If you look at the end results of how Ronnie trains or how Jay trains or how any of the modern bodybuilders train, they all train differently. Is this scary to you? No, if you understand these pillars of success. There is freedom in training as long as you have these in place. These guys evolved their training on preferences. Do I like Pendlay rows? No. I like barbell rows? No. Maybe I like Yates rows. Maybe I like Yates rows in the 6 rep range. Maybe I like them in the 8. Maybe I like them in the 10. Maybe I like them rest pause. Does not matter. There is freedom. And training evolution is one of the cornerstones of this. You will see any successful lifter, they're not following somebody else's program. They're following their program, which was evolved over the years based on preferences and effectiveness. Hard training. I mentioned last week and maybe a little bit this week that hard training can seem difficult to understand. It's something we have to work on, something we have to study, and something we have to try to improve. Hard training at its core is trying to get as much as you can out of every single rep and every single set. In my original book, Massive Iron, I talked about the focus on if you maximize every single rep, you are going to maximize every single set. And if you maximize every single set, you're going to maximize your workouts. Now, people will try to look at various rep schemes and overanalyze various rep schemes. And instead of focusing on getting everything you can out of the rep, out of the set, that is the essence of hard training. Number 7, everybody has a reasonable volume. They're not seeking extremes. They have a reasonable volume for their schedule. How many days a week can I lift in that season of life? What is a reasonable volume? It works for them. There's a range of reasonable. Okay. You don't see the average successful bodybuilder doing 1 set per muscle group per week. You don't see the average successful bodybuilder doing 40 sets per muscle group per week. There is a reasonable conventional rep range that it's probably intelligent to work within, because that's the range that everybody works within. Quality exercise selection. You don't need to overstuff your program with a lot of exercises, but the demands of every exercise are different. Every exercise is going to hit you a little bit differently. You could be doing dips and dumbbell bench and incline barbell bench for your chest. And then when you add pec deck or decline push-ups, all of a sudden you're sore in a different way. Why is that? Because each exercise, even though you're training your chest already, or quads or back or shoulders, is going to hit the body a little bit differently. Therefore, it makes sense to have some reasonable variety, not to overstuff, but to have a reasonable variety of exercises. All conventional programming has a reasonable selection of exercises. Number 9, staying healthy. You don't do ego lifting. You're not going into the gym to punish yourself. We're doing conventional hypertrophy work. We're living to fight another day. We're pulling back on days we need to pull back with the goal of staying healthy and staying in the gym. Staying healthy and staying in the gym might require 1 out of every 4, 1 out of every 5 workouts where something's pulled back a little bit or adjusted on a minor level, so we live to fight another day. Any of my clients will know I have a heart attack when they go into the gym and do something random or arbitrary like test their 1 rep max without letting me know. While I'm not against this occasionally, these are the sorts of shenanigans that can work against number 9, staying healthy. And number 10, and I talked about this earlier, passion. Every successful lifter loves lifting far more than they love results. And that doesn't mean they don't love the results, but they love the lifting. These are the pillars of success. If you analyze every successful lifter that's ever been and ever will be, they have all of these in place. It's not a specific program. It's not a specific frequency. It's not a specific exercise. It's not a specific rep range. It's not a specific intensity technique. It's not supersets or drop sets or rest pause or pre-fatigue or post-fatigue or any other tool. We learn that tools are optional and all of them can have value when used appropriately. If you want this book, The Massive Iron Pillars of Success, I go into detail on all of these, and I can't even remember how long it is. We're on page 39 here. We're on page 50 here. 50 pages. And I give this away for free. And if you want it, you can hit me up on Instagram. You can hit me up on Team Massive, my private Discord community. And you can hit me up on email. And I will help you see the big picture. So it is not as simple as just do whatever works for you. Got it. Super scientific sarcasm. It's not like that at all. But thank you. And here is your here's your consolation prize for underthinking. Iron without iron. Iron within, iron without. We got that one already. Big Tony, a client of mine. Happy Friday. Good to have you here, Tony. Let's see. Was burning 220 calories per mile walking. Lost 45 pounds. Now I'm only burning. A lot of this is speculation based on your watch and projections, right? So I don't think the difference is that dramatic. But when it comes to fitness watches and calculators, just know that they can be highly inaccurate. When I was running 2 hours a day, it would tell me I was burning 1,753 calories because of my body weight. And I was like, there's no way I'm burning that many calories. When on a plan, how important is it to stick to the exact exercises? You don't just want to swap out randomly, frequently. I mean, if you're in the gym and some equipment's taken, and you need to, do a little on the fly adjustment, that's fine. Just be safe no matter what. But you want to use this. You want to use most of the same exercises and equipment most of the time. If not, your progressive overload will start to become dysfunctional. If I do spinal flexion, will that mostly target? That'll target a lot of the erectors and lower back. I mean, if you're doing good mornings, I assume you're talking about good mornings and RDLs and that sort of thing. It'll target your lower back and spinal erectors a lot, and glutes and hamstrings and all that stuff. I'm just laughing because I'm trying to figure out what I'm reading. I saw an interview with Eric Helms from Longevity Muscle called Machiavellian Muscle. I like the idea of Helms being an unhinged, selfish male bimbo like Mike. I don't know what that's about, so I'm just trying to figure that out. If you have the interview, please share the link so anybody else can take a look. But the only people who could benefit from YOLO bulking might be anorexic teen girls. I mentioned yesterday on Team Massive that if you are a 139-year-old or 139-pound individual and you want to play linebacker in football or you want to play rugby and you really want to get your strength up and size up in a year and you're underweight, then YOLO bulking 40 pounds in a year while aggressively strength training might be a good thing. To get you up to more of a normalized body weight while maximizing mass and recovery, etc. No, I didn't. I completely forgot about it. And the best thing to do is just message me so I can look into it deeper, because honestly, my week gets so busy sometimes I forget. Fiona has a fashion show coming up soon, and she did not have it yet, so she's still working on that. And thanks for asking. My favorite progression protocol is straight sets, with the last set being max safe reps. I often find that the last set feels the best and strongest. Yeah, it's absolutely normal. Some people will be dismissive of this protocol, but there are inherent benefits within it. Number one, you're really waking up your central nervous system. Number two, you're really dialing into the lift, and you are getting in quality volume with the lift as well. The big benefits are you really are focusing, you really are in a good groove by the time you hit that last set. So your central nervous system is awake, mentally and physically you're dialed in with that lift, and you can just get after it. The folks that kind of dismiss, the first two sets as being a waste, are also the folks that tend to tell you to do a minimal amount of sets. But Mike Menser and Dorian Yates still did warm-up sets in 10 rep range, right? So if you do 3 sets of 10 with 100, that's 3,000 pounds of intensity or pressure. If you do 3 sets of 10 with 200, you're up to 6,000, so you've doubled the overall intensity. So the pressure that you are applying onto the physique or the body has doubled. And a lot of times on the internet, you'll see things dumbed down to the point where they believe only sets to failure or near failure matter, and that couldn't be further from the truth. All right. Most split is cool. I like doing upper lower without the lower. You guys, I don't know. I don't know about you guys that don't want to train legs. You do you. I just think you should do a little bit of leg work. When you were ultra running, what did your gym volume look like? Well, a lot of times I'd end up missing my shoulder workouts, not on purpose, but I would generally do chest, I would generally do back, and I would generally do a little bit of legs, whatever I could get in that week. My chest was almost always 225 for 3 to 5 sets of 10. I really didn't go above 225 during my ultra running years. I just did a lot of sets of 10 simply because I didn't have time to change the weight. I was running 12 to 14 hours a week. And when I would hit the gym, I would do a lot of straight set action. Again, it's easy for me to maintain muscle mass because I'm an advanced lifter. So I didn't have to get fancy and I didn't have to do a lot of crazy things to maintain mass. Back work, I was doing a lot of T-bars. I was doing a lot of lat pull downs, just simple exercises that didn't require a lot of setup. And for legs, sissy squats, leg extensions, leg curls. I wasn't doing a lot of RDLs and a lot of leverage squats and some squats peppered in. Big Lee. On Wednesday, I did a rest pause front squat, dropped to 85, talking kilos, I assume. Then dynamic triple. That sounds that sounds intense. So you got my blessing. Jay Cutler was jacked before I was even born. I think he was almost jacked before he was even born. Austin. Is scapular movement such a big deal on bench press? No, it's just overblown waste of energy. It seems a lot of coaches focus on it. We have to understand in muscle building what is really important and in base building for strength. Controlling the weight down, not just bouncing it off your chest, and having a good grip spacing that feels natural. And really not dancing your feet around so you don't get loose. Plant your feet, unrack, control the weight down, natural press. That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to retract your scapula. A lot of this stuff comes from the strength building world. There's nothing wrong with retracting your scapula and doing all the things if you want to. It simply isn't needed for strength-based building or muscle building. In my opinion, it is better to keep the bench press simple. I'm not telling you guys can't do this stuff, but, don't think you have to do 72 form cues. It's not going to provide any benefit for muscle building and really negligible for strength building. If you want to be the biggest bencher in the world and you want to get overly technical, you still have to build up a base. And when you are locked in with 42 form cues and you're bending the bar and retracting your scapula and setting the platform on your upper back, I've done all that stuff. To be honest with you, it didn't change anything on my bench. I am not being dismissive of powerlifting setups, but what I want to tell you guys that are just average lifters is just focus on stability and control, and you will be fine. What are your thoughts on insulin sensitivity regarding dieting muscle growth while having longevity and health in mind? If you are insulin sensitive or having any issues related to prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, it's not going to impact your muscle growth. Hard training and all the fundamentals are still going to be in play. And they are going to be 90% of everything, and that's all you need to worry about. Regarding somebody with insulin sensitivity or with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, you really need to, obviously it goes without saying, you need to get rid of, white sugar, white flour, anything deep fried foods, just junk calories, processed foods, fast foods. and you'll be good to go. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that's what helped me with my type 2, and it'll be highly beneficial for you, and you can make amazing progress. You'll be fine. Insulin, nothing to worry about in uh, this whole picture other than just for general health. Take care of yourself. Eat mostly good foods. Depending on your degree of insulin sensitivity or type 2 or prediabetes, you may or may not need to regulate that 20% periphery. But, just be smart about it. Thoughts on Tampa Bay lineman Desmond Watson, currently 449 at 6'6". He's only lost about 20 pounds. If his job is to be in shape, oh no, he could. That's 4 months. I mean, 50 pounds in 4 months for a big boy like that isn't really an issue. He should be able to knock that out rather easily. Something's going on with him and his eating habits, and he has bigger fish to fry. But losing 12 pounds a month roughly should be rather easy for somebody like him, even if he's not in an extreme calorie surplus. Just returning to reasonable eating and a slight surplus, he'd probably lose 30 to 40. In my day, it was 4.5 laps around the school field, no weights, no push-ups or anything. Lee's over in the UK, so I'm not sure what you guys had during the 70s, 80s, or 90s. I'm not even sure when the presidential, sorry, choking on my energy drink. I'm not even certain if there are standards in school from a physical fitness standpoint in this day and age in the US, UK, or anywhere else. Full body 3 times a week. How to structure shoulders. Currently, I do 1 set of seated overheads, 2 sets of cable lateral raises. You have no real impactful shoulder work, very minimal. So we want to get in at least 6 sets that are heavily side delt focused. Side delt focused doesn't mean it's not also hitting your front delt. Understand that bench press or presses for your chest are also hitting your front delts. Overhead pressing is also going to hit your front delts. You need to do a barbell or dumbbell overhead. If you can do a BTN press, that's good. You need to do a dumbbell overhead press or a machine press. So you have this pool of barbell overhead presses that could involve the BTN press, dumbbell overhead presses, and machine shoulder presses, along with seated laterals or cable laterals. So you want at least 6 sets, preferably 9 sets that involve those types of exercises. Could be as low as 6 sets. I'd have to look at the structure of your full body. Is it normal that I feel stronger on my sets of a particular Yeah, it's absolutely can be normal. That's your central nervous system waking up a little bit. On my 5, 10, 10, 20 bench press program, you're using the same weight and you do 5 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, and 20 reps. And you'll notice you feel stronger with each set. So by the 3rd set, you actually feel the strongest. That's your central nervous system waking up. And one of the benefits of doing max reps on the last set is that your central nervous system is waking up during the process. And by that last set, you are ready to go. Once my brief deload period is over, it's back to heavy work. I want to have big arms so I can baby cradle all the opossums and all the raccoons you Americans had. I don't think an animal could be so fat. We got a lot of interesting creatures running around the landscape I think you guys don't have. Doing what works for you is scientific as long as it's in the lane of like the pillars of success. Absolutely. Unless you get super lucky. You're right. You tried something, saw how it worked, wrote in your logs, tried something else. You are the experiment. Fly right. Absolutely correct. As long as what we are doing is within the lane of reason and convention, you are the experiment. And you are going to leave after 10 years training completely different than you train now. Big man, hope you're well. Thank you. I like 65 degrees on the bench for overheads. I wouldn't say it's too shallow. Usually 70 degrees is about the limit, but that should be okay. I mean, just look at the bigger picture. Are you getting enough good impactful exercise for shoulders and chest? And then you should be fine. Given the state of current, given the current state of online fitness and your story of Jay Cutler, some of the kids make me curse my genetics compared to theirs. Granted, scared to see as my dad, but possible future Mr. O's. It's an interesting age. You know, things are always going to change with time. In my day, there was no PEDs. They were all big guys in the gym talking to big guys in the gym. And I didn't have any big guys in the gym with PEDs, so I didn't know anything about it. I was just a dumb lifter. I used to superset back and chest, but once I got stronger, it became too much stress that I had to take long breaks. Good. I'm glad you got away from that because anything can be done efficiently and effectively, but there are 100 other better ways to approach training your back and chest than the stack opposing muscle groups. You can just encourage too much fatigue, cardiovascular fatigue. It just doesn't make sense for me. I'm not a fan. Let me get a drink. Lifting makes you stiff. Well, I guess when I was running, I would fall like a steel beam, but that would prevent injury. I mean, lifting can prevent some mobility. I can't touch the back of my neck. I can barely touch. There we go. I can almost touch the back of my neck, but you can get a high degree of muscle mass that you can't move in certain things and do certain things. So being muscle bound can impact you to a degree, but I don't know about being stiff. I mean, being sore all the time, maybe. Kettlebell's the same damn thing. I mean, they have a little bit. I'm speaking out of my backside a little bit. Kettlebells can be a little bit more dynamic, but that's just a silly generalization. Does bear hugging a plate while doing sissy squats actually work? And given the ROM, I don't want to have a bar. Yeah, it can definitely work. I have a sissy squat station and I hold a plate on my chest. It's a little bit different, but yeah, it's going to add some resistance. You can hold a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a plate. Absolutely. If we took that 52 sets a week for quad study seriously, how would somebody actually? No one could do that. Number one, nobody has time, and no one would be able to survive that. You would be sore for like 3 weeks. It would be ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous statement. I love it. My 80-year-old gym buddy brought a friend in helping her through a machine workout. I'm really glad to hear that because, not just for the general age thing, but movement is life. And the older we get, the more important it is to stay moving and do something that is reasonable for you. So any form of movement is always a good thing, especially when you get up there in age. I was thinking about doing something like Jefferson curls and do mostly spinal flexion so I can get less hamstring stimulus. If it fits in your program, go right ahead. I'm not against any exercise. The only thing I'll say is go slow and steady and be smart. Last call for questions, guys. We have 3 questions left. If not, I'll be hopping off. What frequency and exercises do you suggest for neck training? I don't. I'm not a big fan of neck training unless it's for martial arts. You can get a neck harness if you want. I would be very careful with overworking your neck with frequency. You could pick up issues, headaches or other crazy things. So just go slow. I've done neck bridges when I was in wrestling. But neck harness is probably the only same way. There's probably some other ways people work it, putting a towel on their head and putting a plate on their head or whatever. I don't see any value in direct neck training. Your neck's going to get big as it is, unless the only value I could see is if you need to strengthen it for martial arts. I've been struggling a bit with fatigue recently. What broad recommendations would you make to better manage fatigue? That's way too often. And I'm not being critical, but what I mean is something is definitely wrong with your ability to recover. I would like to look at your program. I'd like to learn more about your program. How's your sleep? Blah, blah, blah. How's your sleep? How's your stress? Are you getting out in the sun? How's your nutrition? I mean, all those are things we have to look at. But when it comes to training, if you're struggling with fatigue management and you have to deload that frequently, we probably have to decrease the frequency that you are training and or the volume of sets per workout. Energy drinks are killing your gains. What are your thoughts? Hashtag LOL. I don't. Do we have anything better to do? Do any of these people actually lift? Do we actually lift anymore? Or do we actually talk about things killing your gains? F1 racers do neck work. I can understand that completely. All right, guys, that is it. Come back next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Just a reminder, you can head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Sign up for coaching. I'd love to work with you. Or check out the custom workout tab. Please head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. I would love to connect with you. And I will see you guys later.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.